Tiana Harris had exactly 3 things in her purse when she proposed to a complete stranger: a crumpled engagement announcement with her ex-fiancé's face crossed out in lipstick, her grandmother's wedding ring that was supposed to go on someone else's finger tonight, and a half-empty bottle of champagne she'd stolen for her own disaster of an engagement party. The man in the hotel service hallway name tag reading Ryan had kind eyes and was holding the door open so she could escape. She'd known him for exactly 12 minutes. "Marry me," she said, and she wasn't entirely joking. He looked at her like she just asked him the easiest question in the world. "Okay," he said. And that's how Tiana Harris married a janitor on the worst night of her life. The same janitor who would turn out to be worth $2.3 billion. 6 hours earlier, Tiana had been happy. The rooftop venue of the Grand Mitchell Hotel sparkled with string lights and the kind of flowers that cost more than her monthly rent. 100 guests mingled with champagne glasses, waiting for her and Marcus to make their official announcement. Her mama had flown in from Atlanta. Her best friend Amber had given a speech that made everyone cry. Everything was perfect. Then Marcus texted her. Asterisk, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I met someone else. Asterisk. Tiana read it 3 times in the bathroom, her phone shaking in her hands. She stepped away for 5 minutes to fix her makeup. 5 minutes. And in that time, her entire future had just ended via text message. She walked back out to the party like a woman in a dream, smiled, nodded, let people hug her and tell her how beautiful she looked in her engagement dress, cream-colored, because she'd been saving the white for the actual wedding. Her face hurt from smiling. "Where's Marcus?" someone asked. "Running late," Tiana lied. "Work emergency." But Marcus never came. And when Amber finally cornered her by the champagne fountain and saw Tiana's face, really saw it, everything came spilling out. "That coward," Amber hissed, loud enough that heads turned. "He ended your engagement by text?" The party went quiet in that horrible way that means everyone heard. 100 pairs of eyes turned to look at Tiana, pitying, shocked, already gossiping. Tiana's mama pushed through the crowd, her face twisted with fury and heartbreak. "Baby." "I need air," Tiana choked out. She grabbed the nearest champagne bottle and ran. Not out the main entrance, where everyone could watch her fall apart, but toward the service exit she'd noticed earlier. Her heels clicked against marble floors, then concrete. Then she was in a dim hallway that smelled like cleaning supplies, and someone was holding a door open. "You okay?" a man's voice asked. Tiana looked up through tears. The man was tall, white, maybe mid-30s, wearing a hotel uniform with a name tag that said Ryan Maintenance. He had dark hair that needed a trim, blue eyes that were genuinely concerned, and rough hands like he actually worked for a living. "Do I look okay?" Tiana laughed, and it came out broken. "Not really," Ryan said honestly, "but you look like you could use an exit strategy." He was still holding the door open. Cool night air rushed in. Tiana walked through it. The door led to a small employee courtyard, just a concrete square with a bench and some struggling plants in pots. Not romantic, not pretty, but private. "Thank you," Tiana whispered. "Rough party?" Ryan asked carefully. "Rough life." She sat on the bench and opened the champagne bottle with shaking hands. Took a long drink straight from it. "My fiancé just dumped me, via text, while I was at our engagement party, in front of 100 people. Jesus," Ryan breathed. "Yeah." Another drink. The champagne was expensive and tasted like regret. 5 years together. 5 years. And he couldn't even face me. Ryan sat down beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. Clearly, I'm not worth the effort of a real breakup." Tiana's voice cracked. "God, I'm pathetic. I'm sitting in a maintenance courtyard drinking stolen champagne and crying to the janitor, maintenance coordinator." Ryan corrected with a small smile. "And for what it's worth, you're not pathetic. He is." Tiana looked at him. Really looked. He had a nice face. Honest. There was something steady about him. Something that made her want to keep talking even though they were strangers. "I had it all planned," she heard herself say. "Fall wedding. Honeymoon in Greece. Kids before I turned 32. I teach second grade, you know? I love kids. I wanted... She stopped. Sorry, you don't need my life story. I don't mind, Ryan said quietly. They sat in silence. Tiana drank more champagne. Her head was starting to feel fuzzy, but her chest still hurt. You know what the worst part is? She said finally. Everyone in there is probably laughing. Poor Tiana got left at her own engagement party. Couldn't even keep a man interested long enough to make it to the altar. They're not laughing, Ryan said firmly. You don't know that. I know that anyone who saw you tonight saw someone beautiful and strong who's been treated terribly. That's not funny. That's tragic. Something in Tiana's chest cracked open. This stranger, this maintenance worker she'd known for 10 minutes, had just said the exact thing she needed to hear. The champagne made her brave. Or stupid. Probably both. Marry me, Tiana said. Ryan blinked. What? Marry me. She pulled her grandmother's ring from her purse. Held it up. The diamond caught the courtyard light. I have a ring. I have a marriage license. We were going to file it next week, but I picked it up early. I have a dress. She gestured at herself, slightly drunk, definitely crying. All I need is a groom who won't abandon me via text message. You're serious, Ryan said slowly. I'm drunk and humiliated and tired of being the woman everyone pities, Tiana said. So yes, I'm serious. Marry me. We'll stay married for 6 months. Long enough for me to prove I'm not pathetic. Long enough for everyone to stop talking about poor jilted Tiana. She expected him to laugh, to make an excuse and leave, to call security. Instead, Ryan looked at her with those steady blue eyes and said, Okay. Tiana's breath caught. Okay. Okay, Ryan repeated. I'll marry you. You're insane. Maybe, Ryan said. Or maybe I just watched the bravest woman I've ever met refuse to let one coward define her story. He held out his hand. 6 months. Then we walk away clean. Deal. Tiana stared at his hand. This was crazy. She didn't know this man. Didn't know anything about him, except he had kind eyes, and he'd held a door open when she needed escape. But she was so tired of being careful, being practical, planning everything. And where had that gotten her? She shook his hand. His palm was warm and calloused. Deal, Tiana whispered. Ryan smiled, a real smile that transformed his whole face. Then I guess we're getting married. They went to the 24-hour courthouse that night, both of them slightly drunk. Tiana still in her engagement dress. The clerk looked at them like they were crazy, but processed the license anyway. At 11:47 p.m., Tiana Harris became Tiana Mitchell. She'd known her husband for exactly 2 hours. Standing on the courthouse steps afterward, the city lights blurring around them, Ryan looked at her and said, For what it's worth, I don't think you're pathetic at all. Tiana's heart did something strange in her chest. Ask me again in 6 months, she said. But she was smiling. Tiana woke up married. The morning sun cut through her bedroom curtains, and for one blissful second, she forgot. Then she saw the ring on her finger. Her grandmother's ring, now a wedding band, and everything came rushing back. The party, Marcus's text, the maintenance worker with kind eyes, the courthouse at midnight. Oh, God, she whispered her empty apartment. Her phone had 43 missed calls. She turned it off. There was a note slipped under her door. Hotel stationery, masculine handwriting. Asterisk, didn't want to assume I could stay. Here's my number if you want to talk. No pressure. Ryan asterisk. Tiana stared at the numbers. She'd married a stranger, a maintenance worker at a hotel. She didn't know his last name. Wait, yes she did. Mitchell. She was Tiana Mitchell now. She should get it annulled. Obviously, this was insane. But then she thought about walking back into school on Monday, facing the other teachers who'd all been at that party, facing the pity, the whispers. Poor Tiana. Couldn't even keep Marcus interested. Her fingers dialed before she could overthink it. Tiana? Ryan answered on the first ring. He sounded worried. Are you okay? I'm married to a man I don't know, Tiana said. So no. A pause. Then, want to grab coffee? Get to know your husband? Something about the way he said it self-deprecating, gentle, made her smile despite everything. "Yeah," she said, "I really do." They met at a diner 3 blocks from her apartment, not the fancy hotel restaurant where he worked, but a place with cracked vinyl booths and coffee that cost $2. Ryan was already there, wearing jeans and a faded blue t-shirt that made his eyes look impossibly bright. He stood when she walked in, like they were on a real date. "Hi, wife," he said, and there was something nervous in his smile. "Hi, husband," Tiana replied and felt her face heat. They ordered coffee, pancakes, and then they just talked. Tiana learned that Ryan had grown up in Boston, that his father had died 2 years ago, that he'd moved to the city to figure some things out. He asked about her teaching, and his interest felt genuine when she told him about her second graders and how Amir had finally mastered his multiplication tables last week. "You light up when you talk about them," Ryan observed. "They're good kids," Tiana said. "They make me want to be better." "That's a gift," Ryan said quietly. "Making people want to be better just by being around you." Their eyes met across the table. Tiana's heart did that strange thing again. "So," she said, breaking the moment, 6 months. "We should probably have rules." "Rules," Ryan agreed. "Smart." They grabbed napkins and started writing. Rule 1, separate apartments at first. Rule 2, no lying. Tiana underlined this twice. Rule 3, we actually try to be friends. Rule 4, tell family and friends we got married quickly, because we just knew. Rule 5, at 6 months, we decide together if we end it. Rule 6, if either person falls in love, they have to say so. Tiana's pen hesitated on that last one. "That's a weird rule." "Is it?" Ryan's voice was careful. "This only works if we're honest." She nodded and wrote it down. "Okay," Tiana said. "So we're really doing this." "We're really doing this," Ryan confirmed. He reached across the table and took her hand. His thumb traced over her grandmother's ring. "For what it's worth," he said, "I don't think I've ever made a better impulsive decision." Tiana squeezed his fingers. "Ask me again in 6 months." But she was smiling. Week 1 felt like playing house. Ryan came over most evenings after his shift at the hotel. They cooked dinner together, or tried to. Tiana burned the chicken. Ryan saved it with some sauce he improvised. They laughed until her sides hurt. He was easy to be with. That was the strangest part. Tiana had expected awkwardness, but Ryan asked questions and listened to her answers like they mattered. He noticed when she was tired. He learned she liked her coffee with too much cream and started bringing it just that way. Week 3, Tiana's mama called. Furious, she'd heard through Amber that Tiana had gotten married. Married? To who? When? "His name is Ryan," Tiana said, watching Ryan pretend not to listen while he washed dishes in her kitchen. It happened fast, Mama, but he's good to me." "Fast? Baby, you were engaged to Marcus 3 weeks ago." "And Marcus texted me about a breakup," Tiana said, voice hard. "Ryan's here. That's the difference." Her mama sighed. "I want to meet him." Ryan looked up and met Tiana's eyes. Nodded. "Okay," Tiana said. "Come for dinner Sunday." After she hung up, Ryan dried his hands. "Your mom sounds terrifying." "She is," Tiana confirmed. "But she'll love you." "How do you know?" "Because Tiana stopped. "Because I'm starting to," she'd almost said, "because you do dishes without being asked. That's her love language." Ryan laughed, but something flickered in his eyes. Something that looked like hope. Month 2, they went to a work event for Tiana's school. Ryan wore a button-down shirt and charmed every single teacher. He asked intelligent questions about curriculum development and remembered everyone's names. When Tiana's ex-friend Jessica, Marcus's cousin, made a snide comment about rebound marriages, Ryan put his arm around Tiana's waist and said, "I'm the luckiest rebound in history." In the car afterward, Tiana said, "Thank you." "For what?" "For making this feel real." Ryan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Tiana, I know," she said quickly. "I know it's not. I just meant, thank you for trying. But the way he looked at her made her wonder if maybe he wasn't pretending at all. Month 3, asterisk, asterisk, Ryan's apartment flooded. Water damage. The whole place unlivable for 2 weeks minimum. Stay with me, Tiana said. We're married. It's weird that you don't already live here. So Ryan moved in, just temporarily, just until his place was fixed. He took the couch, even though Tiana said the bed was big enough. But 3 nights in, she had a nightmare about Marcus, about standing at the altar alone while everyone laughed, and woke up gasping. Ryan was there in seconds, sitting on the edge of her bed in the dark. Just a dream, Tiana whispered. I've got you, Ryan said, and his hand found hers. He stayed until she fell back asleep, his thumb tracing circles on her wrist. When Tiana woke in the morning, Ryan was gone, but there was coffee waiting and a note, asterisk, you're safe. Always, our asterisk. That's when Tiana realized she was in trouble, because this didn't feel like pretending anymore. Month they were grocery shopping, something they did together now, like a real couple. When Ryan reached for the expensive coffee beans Tiana loved, but never bought because her teacher's salary made her careful. You don't have to, she started. I want to, Ryan said simply. Let me do this one thing. There was something in his voice, something heavy. Okay, Tiana said. Thank you. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That night, they cooked dinner side by side in comfortable silence. Ryan's hip bumped hers as he reached for olive oil. Tiana caught herself watching the way his hands moved. Confident, capable, beautiful. What? Ryan asked, catching her staring. Nothing, Tiana lied. Just thinking. About how I'm falling in love with you. About how 6 months suddenly doesn't feel like enough time. About how scared I am that you're still just keeping a promise. Asterisk. About how this is nice, Tiana said instead. This. Us. Ryan set down the olive oil, turned to face her fully. Tiana, he said, and his voice was rough. I need to tell you something. Her phone rang, Amber's name flashing. Hold that thought, Tiana said, answering. Hey, what's... Tiana. Amber's voice was shaking. Are you sitting down? What's wrong? I just saw a photo. From that tech gala downtown tonight. And Tiana, your husband is in it. Tiana's stomach dropped. What? Your husband, Ryan. Except the caption says Ryan Mitchell III, CEO of Mitchell Global Hotels, makes rare public appearance. Tiana, your janitor husband is a billionaire. The phone slipped from Tiana's hand. Ryan's face had gone pale. Tiana, let me explain. But she was already backing away, her whole world tilting. You're not a maintenance worker, she whispered. No, Ryan said, and the word broke something in her chest. I'm not. Tiana couldn't breathe. For months, she said, voice shaking. For months you've been lying to me. I wasn't. Ryan reached for her, but she stepped back. His hand dropped. Okay, yes, I lied about who I am. But everything else was real. Real. Tiana's laugh was sharp, broken. You let me cry about my teacher's salary. You let me worry about paying for my mama's dinner. You watch me clip coupons, Ryan. Coupons. While you're worth. What did Amber say? Billions. 2.3 billion, Ryan said quietly. Give or take. Oh my God. Tiana pressed her hands to her face. This whole time I thought you were just some sweet guy who worked maintenance. I thought we were equals. I thought, her voice cracked. I thought you married me because you saw something worth staying for. I did, Ryan said fiercely. Tiana, I did see that. I still see it. No, she shook her head. You saw a pathetic woman having the worst night of her life, and you felt sorry for her. Poor jilted Tiana. So desperate she'd marry the janitor. What a fun story for you. Did you laugh about it with your billionaire friends? The little teacher who had no idea. Stop. Ryan's voice cut through her spiral. That's not what happened, and you know it. I don't know anything. Tiana shouted. I don't know you at all. Silence fell between them, heavy and horrible. Ryan's jaw worked. When he spoke again, his voice was raw. My father died 2 years ago. Heart attack in his office. He built Mitchell Global from nothing, and it killed him. After the funeral, I looked around at the executives and board members, and I realized none of them knew what it was like to actually work anymore. They made decisions about people's lives from boardrooms and golf courses. Tiana wanted to stay angry, but something in his face made her listen. So I went undercover, Ryan continued. Worked as maintenance in my own hotels. Lived on that salary. Learned what my employees actually deal with every day. I was 4 months into a 6-month plan when you ran into that courtyard crying. And you just decided to marry me? Tiana's voice was thick. No, I decided to help you escape a bad party. But then you were sitting there, heartbroken and brave, proposing to a stranger because you refused to be pitiful, and I thought, he stopped, swallowed hard. I thought you were the most incredible person I'd ever met. So when you asked me to marry you, I said yes. Not because I pitied you, because I wanted to be the kind of man worthy of a woman that strong. Tears burned Tiana's eyes. You still lied. I know. Ryan's voice broke. Every day I wanted to tell you. Every time you smiled at me, or fell asleep on my shoulder, or kissed my cheek, when I brought you coffee. Every single day, Tiana. But I was terrified. Of what? Of this. He gestured between them. Of you looking at me exactly the way you're looking at me right now. Like I'm a stranger. Like these 4 months meant nothing. They meant everything, Tiana whispered, and more tears fell. That's the problem, Ryan. They meant everything to me, and I don't even know if they were real for you. Ryan crossed the distance between them in 2 strides. His hands framed her face, gentle but desperate. Look at me, he said. Really look at me. Tiana did. His blue eyes were red-rimmed, devastated. I'm still the man who held a door open for you, Ryan said. I'm still the man who learned you take your coffee with too much cream. I'm still the man who sits up with you when you have nightmares about being left. The only thing that changed tonight is now you know I have money. Everything else, every conversation, every laugh, every moment I fell more in love with you. That was real. Tiana's breath caught. You what? I'm in love with you, Ryan said, and his voice was steady now, sure. I think I have been since that first night when you looked at me and said marry me like it was a dare. I'm in love with your strength and your kindness and the way you light up talking about your students. I'm in love with how you dance while cooking and how you steal all the blankets and how you make me want to be better than I am. Rule 6, Tiana whispered. What? Rule 6. If either person falls in love, they have to say so. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. You're following the rules. Ryan's thumb wiped her tears away. I'm following my heart. There's a difference. You should have told me, Tiana said, but her hands had come up to grip his wrists, holding him there. I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Tiana. But I'm standing here now telling you the complete truth. I'm a workaholic CEO who hasn't taken a real vacation in 6 years. I have a penthouse I barely sleep in, and a company that demands too much of my time. I'm not perfect, but I'm yours if you want me. Not for 6 months. Forever. Tiana's heart was hammering. Ryan, you don't have to answer now, he said quickly. Take time. Think. I'll sleep at a hotel tonight. Give you space. But Tiana, please. His voice cracked. Please don't think these 4 months were anything less than the best 4 months of my entire life. He pressed a kiss to her forehead, gentle, reverent, and then he was gone. Tiana stood alone in her apartment that suddenly felt too empty. She looked at the coffee maker where Ryan's expensive bean sat, the couch where he'd slept before moving to her bed during nightmares, the kitchen where they'd laughed and cooked and built something that felt like home. Her phone buzzed. Amber, are you okay? Do I need to come over? Do I need to kill him? I don't know, Tiana said honestly. Amber, he said he loves me. He's a liar. He's a liar who learned my coffee order and met my mama and sat through a 3-hour school play because one of my students was in it. Tiana sank onto the couch. He's a liar who made me feel safe again after Marcus destroyed me. So, what are you going to do? Tiana looked at her grandmother's ring. For months ago, She'd put on a stranger's finger in a courthouse at midnight. Now that stranger knew her better than anyone. "I'm going to think," Tiana said. "And then I'm going to decide if love is enough when it starts with a lie." She thought for 3 days. Ryan kept his distance, but evidence of him was everywhere. Flowers delivered to her classroom with a card. Asterisk, no pressure. Just wanted you to smile. Our asterisk, a text from her mama. Asterisk, that boy called to apologize for not being honest. Said he'd understand if I hated him. I don't hate him, baby. He sounded heartbroken. Asterisk. On the 3rd day, Tiana went to Mitchell Global Headquarters. The building was glass and steel and impossibly tall. Security tried to stop her, but she said, "I'm Tiana Mitchell," his wife. "Let me up, or I'm calling every news outlet in the city." They let her up. Ryan's office was on the 45th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. A massive desk. Everything expensive and cold, and nothing like the warm man who'd lived in her tiny apartment. Ryan stood when she entered. He looked terrible, exhausted, haunted. "Tiana," he breathed. "Show me," she said. "What?" "Show me your real life. Not the maintenance worker. Not the version you thought I needed. Show me who Ryan Mitchell III actually is." So he did. He showed her the employee programs he'd started after his undercover work. Better wages, health care, child care benefits. Showed her the emails from workers thanking him for changes that let them actually live, not just survive. Showed her photos of his father, who Ryan looked exactly like, and explained how he was trying to build a company his dad would be proud of while not dying like he did. "I don't know how to balance it all," Ryan admitted. "The business, my personal life, being present. I'm not good at it. But Tiana, with you I wanted to try. You made me want to be more than just a CEO." Tiana walked a window. The city sprawled below, glittering and vast. This was his world, so different from hers. "I'm still angry," she said quietly. "You lied for 4 months." "I know, but I'm also in love with you." She turned to face him. Rule 6. If either person falls in love, they have to say so. Ryan's eyes widened. "Tiana, I'm in love with a man who holds doors and makes coffee and sits up during my nightmares. I'm in love with the person you are, Ryan. Not the money, not the title. You." She took a breath. "But I need you to promise me. No more lies. Ever. Even when the truth is hard." "No more lies," Ryan swore. He crossed to her, hands shaking as they cupped her face. "I promise. Complete honesty from now on." "Then here's my truth," Tiana said. "Our 6 months aren't up yet. We still have 2 more months of our agreement. I want to use them. To decide if you want to stay." "No." Tiana smiled through tears. "To plan our real wedding. Because the courthouse was perfect for strangers. But I want to marry you again as the people we actually are. You as a billionaire CEO. Me as a teacher who still clips coupons sometimes. And this time, I want our families there. I want it to be real." Ryan made a sound between a laugh and a sob. "You want to marry me again?" "I want to marry you for real," Tiana corrected. The first time was a rebound. This time it's a choice. "I choose you, Ryan Mitchell. All of you, even the parts that come with the 45th floor office." He kissed her then, desperate and deep and full of promise. When they broke apart, Ryan pressed his forehead to hers. "I love you," he whispered. "God, Tiana, I love you so much." "I love you too," she said. "Now take me home. Our home. The apartment where you learn who I really am. That's where we start being honest." "Best idea you've ever had," Ryan said. "Second best," Tiana corrected, smiling. The best was proposing to a stranger in a maintenance courtyard. Ryan laughed. That real, full laugh she'd fallen in love with. Can't argue with that. 8 months later, they got married again on a rooftop. Not the one where Tiana's life fell apart, but a different one. Better one. This time, Ryan wore a tux and Tiana wore white. Their families sat together, her mama crying happy tears, his board members looking vaguely confused about how their CO had fallen for an elementary school teacher. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Ryan turned to the crowd and said, If anyone here thinks I don't deserve her, you're absolutely right. But I'm going to spend every day trying anyway. Tiana kissed him before the officiant gave permission. The crowd laughed and cheered. At the reception, Amber cornered Ryan. Hurt her again, and I don't care how many billions you have. Deal, Ryan said seriously. But I won't. She's everything. Tiana watched her husband, her real husband now, dance with her mama, both of them laughing. Watched him later, sitting with her second graders who'd been invited, letting them interrogate him about being rich. Is it weird, one student asked, being married to a teacher when you're so fancy? It's perfect, Ryan said, catching Tiana's eye across the room. She makes me better. That's what love does. That night, in the penthouse Ryan had finally convinced her to share with him, after he donated her apartment's rent money to her school for supplies, Tiana stood in her wedding dress looking out at the city. Ryan came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. Any regrets? He murmured against her hair. Tiana thought about that terrible night 4 months ago. The champagne and the tears and the impulsive proposal to a stranger. All the ways it could have gone wrong. All the ways it had gone perfectly right. Not one, she said, turning in his arms. You. Just that I didn't tell you the truth sooner, Ryan admitted. But we got here anyway. We did, Tiana agreed. She touched his face, this man she'd married twice now, once in desperation, once in love. And Ryan, for what it's worth, I'm really glad I got jilted. He laughed. That's the weirdest thing you've ever said. It's true, though. If Marcus hadn't broken my heart, I never would have run into that courtyard. Never would have met you. Never would have known what real love feels like. So what you're saying is I should send Marcus a thank you card? Ryan teased. Absolutely not, Tiana said. What I'm saying is sometimes the worst night of your life leads to the best decision you ever make. Ryan kissed her softly. Marrying a stranger? Marrying you, Tiana corrected. Twice. And in the city below, in her old apartment building, someone else was probably having the worst night of their life. But up here in this moment, Tiana Mitchell had everything she'd never known she needed. A love that was real, honest, and chose her every single day. She'd married a worker on the rebound. He'd turned out to be a billionaire CEO. But more importantly, he'd turned out to be hers. Asterisk. And that's the story of how one woman's worst night became her greatest blessing. Sometimes the person you need finds you in the most unexpected places. A maintenance courtyard, a moment of desperation, a proposal that should have been crazy but turned out to be fate. Asterisk. Asterisk. Tiana and Ryan's journey reminds us that love doesn't always arrive the way we planned. Sometimes it shows up when we're broken, we're in the wrong disguise, at exactly the right time. And while honesty is the foundation of any real relationship, so is forgiveness. The choice to see the person behind mistakes and love them anyway. Asterisk. If this story touched your heart, reminded you that second chances exist, or made you believe in love again, please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs to hear that their worst moment might just be leading them to their best life. Asterisk, what do you think? Was Ryan wrong to hide his identity, or did his reasons justify the lie? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, sometimes the best love stories start with the worst first chapters. Asterisk. Asterisk, subscribe for more stories about love, redemption, and the beautiful messiness of finding your person. Because everyone deserves a love story, even if it starts with a drunk proposal in a maintenance courtyard. Asterisk. Until next time, keep believing in second chances. Keep believing in love. And if someone offers you coffee exactly how you like it, maybe they're worth taking a chance on. Want more stories like this? Like this video. Comment your thoughts. Subscribe for weekly love stories. Share with someone who needs hope.